Good evening, everyone. My name is Minzhan from Momentum Learning. This is our seminar for artificial intelligence, our series seminars that we hold every year before the summer camps, before the spring semester, before the fall semester. Today, the topic is artificial intelligence. We got a lot of requests from parents, from students asking, what do we think the artificial intelligence and what we should do as AI is undergoing rapid progress and update. So today we try to talk about this topic and also particularly how we can help students to catch up with this big wave, or maybe we should say the new trend in the next 10, 20 years. I think now everybody agrees the next several decades, right? We're going to focus on the AI or the big data. What is AI? AI stands for artificial intelligence. Here, I would say, if you ask me, right, what AI is, I would say this would be one sentence to describe AI. AI is the simulation of human intelligence, but by machines. Machines do not have the human intelligence, so must be a simulation. That's why we're going to use the word artificial intelligence, not the human intelligence. Anyway, computers don't know how to think like humans, but we're going to ask the computers to do it. So AI normally would allow computers to perform the tasks that normally would be done by human or human intelligence. So it should be able to understand the task, interpret, and try to think, and then eventually perform the task, making decisions. Okay, so this is what I would say about AI, or the pitch statement about AI. Of course, maybe different people have different interpretation or understanding, or from different viewpoint. But anyway, most people would agree, right? AI is not human intelligence, but it is artificial, so must be performed by computers or computer systems. Here is a brief history of AI. Actually, many students are interested. Where did we get started? For computer science, this is actually quite new, right? Anyway, the first computer emerged in the 1940s at the end of World War II. That's actually, roughly the same time AI became the discussion. The birth of AI, that's actually in the 1950s. But then the development in the early days actually was slow. In the 80s, 1980s, people were talking about expert systems. So don't be confused, right? Those are not the AI we're talking about today. Well, maybe people used the term earlier. Now we would prefer to use expert systems. They do not present or exhibit the intelligence. Okay, in the 2000s, we have intelligent agents. Actually, one example would be the Deep Blue. The computers could beat the best human players in chess game. It could think, can analyze the situation, make the best move with the current situation. The progress after that one actually went faster. So 2010, we saw the AI used in smartphones, cars. Actually, we could see, say, the Siri, right? Many students actually would remember, not today, but say many college students would remember when the first generations of Siri came to life, and then many people were surprised or actually impressed, shocked by the availability, even though from today's viewpoint, right, those early models of AI actually were quite naive. But anyway, that was a breakthrough. And then, of course, right, then the most recent progress starting from 2022, when ChatGPT came to available, then actually many people were truly shocked by the ability that such a model, right, can present or exhibit the intelligence. Actually, many people were so impressed and was okay, maybe the computers can replace human for a lot of tasks. Well, not exactly. But anyway, no one can question, right, the development or the progress. Now it's getting faster and faster, or we could say the acceleration is getting bigger, larger and larger. So used to took much longer to have a new idea or new approach, but now it will take much shorter time to have a new idea, new model. Even as we speak, right, many new models are coming. So I want to talk about AI in the next 10, 20, well, 30 years. AI would be the main topic in computer science, I believe. All right, types of AI. Here are listed 4 types. Again, people may have different opinions, but I think more or less, right, we would agree on these 4 types. The first type would be narrow AI. Those would be very specific tasks. So for example, right, the earlier version, say, voice assistants, you can talk to your phone, you can talk to your car, say, I want to call John. Then your phone, right, can call John. You say, I'm going to search a location, right? I can search the location and then present that one in the GPS system on your car. So these would be narrow AI. So normally would be very specific tasks. The next level, I would rather to use the word agentic AI. So you can say they would work as an agent. So these would be normally the goal-directed systems. It can analyze the situation and gather some information and also make decisions. And doing all these with minimal human intervention. This is actually what we're doing currently now, or what is being done in the field. When people talk about AI research, right, currently, I think this is what we focused on, or people are focused on. The next level, actually, many people are talking about. Some say, okay, maybe 10 years away. Some say maybe 20 years away. We don't know. This is called the general AI. People use the word AGI, the artificial general intelligence. So this is actually would be very different, because if we can have general AI, then these systems, they can have human-like intelligence. So not like, say, ChatGPT can just have, a conversation, talk, right? Actually, maybe a robot can just do as the same as a human can do. Or if you don't know beforehand, right? If you say, come into the room and then meet this machine, if you don't have prior information, right, you will not tell whether this is machine, robot, or it is a actual human. Well, just by interaction, but not maybe look at the actual the 3D shape. Maybe that will be still lagging behind, but we might be able to get the systems that can be pretty much the same as human intelligence. So this is still theoretical. That's why we say, right, artificial intelligence and human intelligence, if we cannot tell them apart, then this is could be exciting or could be kind of scary to some people. So that's why there's still debate. But I think this is the way we are going next time. I mean, the next stage. And also there is another one many people are talking about. This is just a future concept. That is super intelligent AI. So they could be even smarter, more powerful than human intelligence. So a lot of maybe, hard problems now we cannot solve by human, right? There's still some math problems, there are some computer science problems, physics problems, right? That have been there for a long time that we cannot solve. But maybe one day, right, the super intelligence AI, they can solve it. Could be the case. If that's possible, right, then that would be great. But again, right, people also are concerned the safety, security. Well, I don't know how close we're going to get to general AI or super intelligent AI, or by when, right? But actually, we are getting closer, because as we said, right, the development of AI is unstoppable and it's getting faster and faster. All right, okay. But I want to make sure, right, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, for the new technology, new development, right, if there is controversy, there is danger, right, we should not be fearful, we should not be concerned. We should just do research and try to take good use of it. This is the same for any new technology in human history. How AI works, well, this is actually what we try to teach students in the classes that we offer at Momentum Learning. One thing that we want to ask students to learn would be the machine learning. So how do you use the current information, knowledge, research to teach machines to analyze the data, to learn the data? This is very important. Pretty much all the AI, you have to have the machine learning part. Or sometimes people say AI can be equivalent to machine learning. Anyway, we try to ask the machines, right, to learn. Actually, they can learn faster. So this is a very important part and will be embedded into our classes or our teaching curriculum. This is actually important neural network. Anyway, remember, right, we said we try to make the computer to exhibit human intelligence, and human intelligence actually, if you talk about it, right, probably would, you cannot avoid using the word neural network. So try to mimic how the brain works, even though we're not so sure how brain works. Well, at least we don't know how it works completely, right? But we try to mimic. And of course, the next level would be the deep learning. So maybe these are just normal neural networks, and then we're going to make it more complex. And then this may be, we don't know yet, right? Maybe the form for the super intelligence AI would exhibit or would use. Okay, there are some other ways. Different models actually keep coming, maybe by monthly or even weekly, and some even say, right, on daily basis, new ideas are coming up. So we try to make it more and more complicated. In our teaching, we're going to do a lot of study here, ask students to learn and also try to make models or implement the AI at this level. And also we're going to do some of these, the neural network. And of course, right, this would be the future studies that you're going to do in college and maybe later in your career, in your further studies. So at the moment, we're going to offer the classes. These are the possible AI classes for middle school students and also for high school students. There are 4 classes for middle school students, Python A, B, and also AI for middle school students, A and B here. And for high school students, we're going to offer 2 classes. One is Python, because we need Python coding in AI. So if you talk about AI and talk about coding, right, almost all would mean, right, Python coding. And then we're going to have the class AI for high schoolers. Okay, I'm going to briefly touch each class here. Python A, this would be offered by Mr. Durham. He's very experienced, and then these are the topics in the first level, Python A. By the way, all the classes actually we're going to offer in 12 weeks. Normally these topics would be pretty much stable, but again, right, this field is undergoing rapid progress, so we may change this as we see fit. Okay, that's part A, and this is for part B. And hopefully at the end of Python B, many middle school students, right, can do pretty fluent coding in Python. And this would be used in the AI classes for middle school students. You can see, right, we're going to touch the basic ideas. So machine learning basics. We're going to do pattern recognition. We're going to do these applications, AI in healthcare, education, finance, and so on. And also touch a little bit about the NLP, the natural language processing. This is for part B, and we're going to work on more specific problems. Students would have the choice to pick a project to work on, and then even though they're not going to spend too much effort, but still, students would have the chance to, apply the Python coding and solve a simple project, work on a simple project. So that is for middle school students, 4 classes. There are questions here. Let me. Clarence asked, right, can it done be Java? Yes, you can. Actually, even though we said we're going to do in Python, because in AI, in machine learning, we have a lot of packages, modules developed in Python, so that will make coding much easier, much more convenient. You can also write in Java, but then probably you have to do more coding. Or sometimes a module, a function may not be available, then you may have to work on your own. But most of the time, right, AI also can help. If cannot be completely right, then can help somehow. Well, here for this class, actually, it's different from the question is about, say, for algorithms. In this class, actually, we will not focus on algorithms or data structures. Most of the projects here are not intensively in calculation. That part is actually covered by the USCO Computing Olympiad, where you have to finish the intensive calculation or large number of calculations in a short period of time. But in AI, normally we do not focus on the efficiency or using specific algorithms. Mainly we're going to say, ask computers to learn or how to think like a human. And of course, right, in all these classes, the projects are not, huge. If we try to do some work on some projects, right, still we try to make it a small scale, not a huge database where you have to work on, the data would be measured in, say, hundreds of gigabytes or even in terabytes, right? That's not the case. Or the calculation will take, say, days, weeks, or even months to finish. That's not what we are focused on. Rather, we're going to just teach the idea what AI is actually used or developed. All right, okay. Python for high schools students, we're going to pretty much do the same thing, but we're going to ask students to be more fluent. Rather than the basic ideas, right, then students would be able to, for example, right, like this part here, right, if we need some modules, we need to use some packages, right, we should be able to install them, we should be able to learn how to use them, and also in a short period of time and get used to the interface. So it is in AI, many people would adopt this idea, right? If somebody have done the job, then we try to take advantage of it, especially if it is already, used by other people and then tested by other people. Then we should be able to use it. Sometimes if you say, okay, I want to develop my own, that's fine too. But in this class, we try to use the modules, the packages as much as we can. Anyway, this is not a coding class. Rather, we're going to say how AI can be used. Okay. So this class actually for high school students, even though just 1 semester, but we're going to make it into deeper level. Okay. And then the next level would be the AI for high school students. We're going to teach the foundations of generative AI, and we're going to do actually quite a lot using the AI, because now it is a tool. Many people would use it. So I'm going to talk about the examples, but here, right? Many parents, students have used, for example, how do you generate your resume? But if I want to apply for a job, maybe just a summer intern, or if I want to find a job after college, right? I want to do an interview, so AI actually can do a very good job to polish your resume. We have tried this one actually in the classes, and almost everyone is actually impressed or feel it is actually doing a very good job. Actually, we also have used AI to, like, say, for text data or image data. We have asked AI to, say, write a book. Actually, this was a very interesting project in the past 2 semesters. For example, right, we want to do AI in this class. Some say, okay, I did some Python programming, but not as thorough as say maybe Java, maybe C++. So how can I improve my coding skills in Python in a short period of time? Actually, we did a project. So we would ask AI, can be any of these models. Could it be ChatGPT? Could it be Gemini? Could it be Grok? Could it be even DeepSeek, right? Any of these models, we can ask, right, can you write a book, say, Introduction to Python Programming? Actually, pretty much all the models would give us maybe 10 chapters, maybe 15 chapters. Okay, we're going to focus on each chapter and ask questions. Okay, what are the main topics in this chapter? And for each one, can you explain, expand, and also give us examples? So for each such topic, we may expand from the very beginning, right, maybe just half page, toward the end, right, maybe 20, 30 pages. So before we become an expert in Python programming, actually we have a book that has maybe 200, 300 pages. So the book we have developed, of course, right, with help of AI. So earlier version of the writing a book is, well, you become an expert, spending maybe 10 years, 20 years in the field, and then you can write a book about this, this field, right? Now it is kind of the opposite. I want to learn in this field or this topic. I want to write a book first. Of course, we did not actually write the book. We ask AI, basically, illustrate or list all the topics, and we're going to go through each one. And then, so this is actually what we're going to learn how the AI works, and also try to use it. Of course, in this class, this is what AI for high schoolers. We're going to also talk about the skills, techniques in machine learning, in data mining. And we're going to use it actually in these projects. So I'm going to talk more about these projects that I think would be interesting, would be useful. Here's one, well, I just provided 3 here. This is to study the, the basic ideas. So if we talk about the birth of AI, actually it started from game playing, game theory. So we ask students to write AI players for simple games. Actually, this was very popular. Students would be very interested in this one because earlier before, right, we could simulate. So 2 human players would take turns to play the game. Now we're going to ask 1 human player against a AI player. So the AI player could know the rules, or you can add, the strategy or the knowledge about the gameplay, or you don't have to. You can train the AI player, right, just by the basic rules. You don't know how to play the game, but it knows how to check, right? All the games, it must know how to check whether you win or lose. So by using those simple, right, you can actually gradually improve the AI so that eventually, for most people, right, actually you cannot beat the AI player in those games. So this was actually very popular. And also, we're going to teach students, right, some of the techniques here. I think this is actually useful from our feedback. For example, right, there are many here. So a database for certain disease. So we're going to train the machine using the test data. We're going to train the machines to find out the pattern for, say, patient with the disease or people without the disease. Okay, and then we're going to apply the techniques to check the test data to see the accuracy. This actually would be a very useful tool in biomedical research. Of course, in this class, right, we're not going to have huge data sets. We're not going to apply the very complicated algorithms, but students will get the idea to use certain simple ideas they can learn maybe in a week or two, even though we don't know the details. Some of the details, the underlying mechanism, right, will be hidden. That's why we're going to use the modules that have been developed by some other people and have been tested. So we need to know how to use them and what they can do, they can achieve. So this also would be a very interesting part. In the last 2 semesters, actually, these projects actually got a lot of attention. So we're going to apply the NLP, the natural language processing, and try to build AI model. So here, when we say build AI model, we're not actually develop an actual AI model like, say, ChatGPT or something like this. Actually, we're going to build a layer above it, API above this such a model, right? You can pick any model you want, but we try to make it another chatbot to, be able to answer questions in a specific topic. So what we did last time was, say, APCSP exam. You can pick any one, maybe say history, maybe biology. So you're going to train the model with the problems and the answers you provided. So if you have just in a small data set, the questions model, answers right questions models, if you say in the magnitude, say 100, 200, right, maybe not too impressive, the model. But after you add more and more, and then these problems actually, these training, right, with question and answers, right, you can generate these questions actually a lot. After you have generated maybe 500, 1,000 such, pairs, the pair, right, question and answer pairs, right, then the models can be quite impressive. So these can be used to help us to study. So for example, right, I want to prepare for APCSP exam. I don't have to go through the book or the guide from College Board. I'll just talk to my bot, the model. This would be, again, right, another chat bot. So first I will just ask the question, and then the model will tell me the answers. And after a while, I think I learned a lot, right? And then I can switch the role. I'll ask the model to generate questions, and I'll try to answer question, and then the AI will tell me whether I got it right or wrong. So for these projects, I think very useful. Actually, we got the hint from our experience. If we visit certain websites, say we want to do shopping, so I want to buy a car, right? After you visit the car dealership, right? Then again, after a while, a window will pop out, right? And then the bot would ask us, right? What's your question or what you're looking for? So those would be very similar to what we do here. So those companies, right? They would also do the same thing. Probably they were not going to actually develop a model like ChatGPT or Gemini, but they would also build a layer above it. But they're going to feed or train the model, right, with their own specific questions and answers. So if you ask the ChatGPT, the generic model, right, probably you don't get the good answers, or you think, right, they're not professional. But if you ask the question, say in a say car dealer website, right, it can do much better or more specific. So I think these models actually would be useful. Actually, this would be what I would say the questions about AI, especially here. So what is AI? That would be a question we're going to be asking, not now, but in the next 10, 20 years, right? We'll always ask, what is AI? What is the current status of AI? And then the second question would be, say, what will AI be in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? Actually, this will be kind of hard because we don't know. The progress is too fast. So maybe after 5 years, things will be completely different. So maybe try to avoid the longer term, but focus on the short term in 1 year or in 2 years. Again, right, you may have your own opinion, but others may have, different opinions. That's why this is a very active field and a lot of competition. But I think everyone, right, is entitled to have their own opinion. So that will be interesting. So if you think that is going to happen, right, you work on it, and then probably you're going to get it. And if you think in a different way, and maybe in 1 year, right, you cannot achieve it, but in 5 years you can do it. That's fine too. But anyway, this is a very active field, and then this is what I've tried to, ask our students and also maybe parents. These two questions you may think, right, they're similar, but actually I would say they're different. One is, what can AI do for us? I think many people would focus on this aspect. So I can register an account, maybe not paid, maybe paid, right? And then I'm going to ask, right, what can AI do for us? Like what we just said, right? I can ask AI to help me to, write a resume. I'm going to ask AI to say even write a summary for my annual evaluation. All these, right, actually many people found, right, very useful, especially if I want to write something. It is quite good. So I would say, right, many people would be focused in this aspect, but from the teaching viewpoint for students, actually, I think we should focus on this one here. What can we do with AI? So the example I just showed, right, we can add a layer API above the models, integrate our question answer or anywhere the training set into the generic model, and we're going to build our own specific model. That actually would be very useful. I think in the current agentic system, as we said, right, agentic systems normally would be goal oriented. So if before we can reach the AGI, the general intelligence, I think agentic AI would be the main focus in the next, I don't know, maybe 5 years. Another example, I think I've seen many students have the experience that play chess. Of course, now it will be hard to beat the software. But before, even you have the software, you still have to, you had to, say, have a coach, or you have to go to the tournaments. And then coach will tell you, right, okay, John, you're still weak in this aspect, maybe opening, maybe in the middle, right? So I'm going to train you on these specific areas. But now if you can integrate the AI into such a still the same chess game, but the AI can analyze what you have been playing, John has been playing in the past maybe 2 weeks, and find out what John is, say, the strong point, the weak points, and try to guide through John in the next level. So this is one example of AI can be integrated into, an app, a product that has been used or been useful. But now adding the AI will make it more useful, right? You don't have to go to a tournament. You can still play against the chess game, the software, but then you know how to improve it to beat the program. That should be equivalent as you play against other human players. Okay, or the AI can also act as the coach, so you don't have to find out the time, because AI is available right 24/7. For AI, you have to find out the time that is convenient for both you and the coach, and also to attend tournaments, right? You have to, a lot of other constraints. So, well, this is just for training, right? As we said, for studies or for services, right? All these agentic systems, I think, would be very useful in the next 5 years. There's a question: do we need GPU? No, we don't. The question is saying, right? Say AI, all the models that have been developed, right? We hear so much about the GPI, the graphics process units, of course, right? From say NVIDIA. We're not going to build a model from scratch. Actually, we are using those models. Okay, very important. We're not going to create or train. That would take a lot of time, a lot of money. So we cannot do it. And it's not, worth the effort, right? Because all these models, they're useful. They've been quite successful, powerful. Then why don't we just use them? So that's what we say, right? We can use the AI, integrate into, the products, the apps that we have available. Okay. Another question. There's a question for students without programming experience. No. So that's why we need to have students to take the computing programming classes. So if a student has been coding in Python before, that's great, but we still have to sharpen the tools. Of course, now if a student wants to get familiar with the Python programming, actually it's not hard than before. So just to spend more time, as I said, right, our students in the past 2 semesters, they even wrote a book, how to introduction to Python programming. So they can pretty much learn how to do the coding or get familiar, sharpen the skills, right, in a short period of time. You're right, Elijah. I agree with you. Another question: Python for high schoolers and also AI for high school at the same time? Maybe not the same time. We still need more time to. If the student has no prior experience, then I would still recommend taking the Python class first and then take the AI class. Okay. Yeah, no, JH, you're right. I agree with you. So you need some experience before. But if you say, right, my student does not have extensive programming experience, that's fine. Yeah. So just to spend more time to get familiar, because actually, right, our projects would involve programming. Okay. What level of math? Well, in all these AI classes, math is not critical. So as I mentioned, we don't expect students to understand the underlying math, the mechanism. So we're going to explain what the modules can do, right? What is input, what is the output. if students can understand what is how to use them, right, I think that will be enough. Later in college and then later in their career, right, if they can spend more time to understand the math, that'd be great, but not in this level. Either in middle school students, for middle school students and also for high school students, right, they don't have to understand the math. Do they need to learn C++ to learn that? No, they don't. Actually, most, as I mentioned, right, most AI packages now are developed using Python. iPhone's question, yes, take the Python class first. C++ too hard for, yeah, you're right. Actually, C++, it is very powerful, popular, well, at least 20 years ago. But you're right, Python is considered to be lower level than Java, than Python. So for AI development, right, mainly we're going to do the Python. It is much easier to write. So it takes, short time to get familiar, to be familiar with the tools. USCO helps AI, of course. Actually, we do have some students who have been, training in USCO, and then they would find out some techniques they have learned in USCO or in general CP could be very useful for AI. Anyway, right? Sometimes maybe a small part, even though it is a small part, but would still be time consuming. So maybe if you don't improve, if you don't optimize, it would take maybe say 1 minute to finish the calculation. But if you improve, right, that would take just 1 second. So that would be a huge difference. Because if you do it every time, right, testing, trial and error, every time you have to wait for 1 minute, right, that would take a longer time. But if it takes 1 second, right, you don't even notice the delay. Why was AI being mostly Python? Well, good question. Python is easier to write. Many students would tell you, right, that is the case. The same task, if you write in Java, maybe say 100 lines, C++, maybe say 80 lines, and if you write in Python, maybe just 20 lines, 30 lines. So it is much easier. So in this sense, right, Python would be more higher level language. Okay, more questions coming. Code optimization? No, we don't. Okay, Lian, we are not going to do the code optimization or complexity analysis. No, that's not the point. So in this class, we try to help students to get the idea of AI. And of course, right, later, if you come to a project, a task that is also time intensive, calculation intensive, and you still have to train the machine, right, to learn the pattern, to develop the pattern, discover the pattern, then that's another issue. So, but not at this level yet. Sean's question, future AI career, possible jobs. I would say in the next 10, 20 years, we're going to see a lot of discussion about, say, how AI replacing human programmer or human player there. I would hold a different opinion. I would say AI would be supplemental to human programmer or player. And we're going to have new fields coming up. So as I mentioned before, right, some problems that we could not solve before, later we could. And then once we can open our horizon, so the more problems we can solve, then the more problems that we cannot solve. So we know the analogy, right? If you draw a circle, inside the circle, those are the problems we can solve. Outside, the questions we don't know how to solve. So once we know more and more problems we can solve, right? Then the circle gets bigger and bigger. Then we have more problems that we don't know how to solve. Why? Before we don't have more problems that we cannot solve because we don't even know they even exist. So like AI, many people might have heard it right. Now maybe in the past several years, right? That's the hardware, the semiconductor field. And now the topic, right, is moved to the software part. One example is the Palantir. So it can just by starting the data and then try to check whether it is, this person or it is behavior of this person, and also try to predict. So these would be the things that we did not have the capability to do before. Now we can, and then the more we can do, right, then the more we cannot do. So I think later, the future career or jobs would be related to, say, how can you use the tool, the AI tools, to help your job. So for those, if you cannot effectively use the AI tools, then you're going to be in the inferior position. Those who can use the AI tools, that's what I put here, right? If you can use the AI efficiently in your job, then you're going to beat those that cannot do it. So it's not just say what AI can do for us, what we can use this tool efficiently to make your job easier and to solve the questions much faster, much more efficiently. Anyway, right? AI can do this without break, right? For human being, we have to say we have to sleep, we have to take a break. But AI, they don't have to, so they can keep working 24/7. Of course, then there'll be the advantage over a human being. Anyway, if you say what are all the future careers in AI, actually that would be $1 million question, and actually we don't know. So this is concerning or is confusing to many people, parents, students as well. What are the new jobs? After say I take computer science major in college, then what am I going to do in 4 years? Well, I'm still in high school, right? In 5 years, 6 years, right? What are the new jobs? We don't know yet. But one thing is for sure, you have to be good at computer science, and also maybe it's the math, and also you have to be good at using the tool AI. That is for sure. If you want to succeed in the next, decade or two, right? You have to be good at using the tool. Just like before, we had to be good at using, say, PowerPoint, Excel, Word, right, to make your job, your life easier. If you don't use all those tools, right, it will make your life much harder. So the same thing, AI would be the next tool. So that's why in our teaching now, we want to make sure students are prepared. They know how to use AI for simple tasks, and also try to integrate the tool into their research, into their job. And then they're going to solve the questions and also try to discover more problems or make it more powerful. So that is what we try to help students. All right. Okay. So I think that's all I want to do. I want to stop here.